Peace to the gods. This is Reverend Ra. So today I'll be going over what is a Merkaba and how is it relevant to you? What is a Merkaba field? So Mer means specific kind of light or two counter-rotating fields of light. So there's the Mer. Boom. Right? May heard that in merman, mermaid, kind of that same root. Boom, Mer. We have the Ka, which is spirit, right? Spirit, boom. Then you have the Ba, which usually means the soul or the body, right? So boom, you have light, boom. You have spirit, boom. And then you have the soul / the body, okay? Now, what is a Merkaba field? So the Egyptians, the Aztecs, different civilizations of antiquity believed that the Merkaba field was a energy or aura field surrounding you that was able to take you into different dimensions and different levels of existence, right? It was kind of like the spaceship that we call of antiquity. Like, they didn't imagine that there was some external spaceship. They believed that your own aura field was the spaceship itself, and that was their Merkaba. They don't say it fully, it's Merkaba, their Merkaba field. Now, in actual reality, or not in actual reality, but in present day, what we call the Merkaba field is this, okay? We don't call the Merkaba field the Merkaba field. What science has realized what the Merkaba field is actually the electromagnetic field, right? So that's the boom electromagnetic field, okay? So the electromagnetic field, and why I actually broke it up is because I want you to see the two different connotations of that, right? The so the electricity, we are electric beings, actually the most interesting part of that is that we're also 90% water. And so if you go back to the first days of science lessons that we got when we were in school, we learned that water was a 100% conductor of electricity. So if we're 90% water, or almost 100% water, and we're also electromagnetic beings, that we are perfect conductors of electricity, right? And then magnetism, okay? And I think that magnetism part really comes from just our ability to purposely polarize ourselves with our attitudes, with our thoughts. So it's almost like we can choose what type of electricity we want to be. And choosing what type of electricity we want to be instantly polarizes us and makes us either positive or negative. So we become electromagnetic beings because we become beings that are not only electric, but we are choosing what we are attracting to ourselves or magnetizing to ourselves through our electromagnetic field. Right? And then I think the most interesting part even is that field, I think they try to confuse people with this word field. I don't think that the field connotates, well, it does connotate the actual field that surrounds you, but I believe that the field actually is the FEELD. The field is the field. Because however you feel is what you attract to yourself through your emotions. So you have an electromagnetic field because whatever you feel, you attract to yourself through your electromagnetism or your power of electroconductivity. All right. So you have your electromagnetic field because whatever you feel is what you attract to yourself. Right, ultimately. But then what you feel is your emotions. Okay, what is your emotions? Now, if you read, I believe the first time I ever seen it written in an actual book was Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. But he said that emotions, right? So your emotions, okay, is actually your energy in motion. It's amazing because think about the last time you got angry, okay? Or actually just think about when we write our goals are usually something that we desire, okay? Now desire is an emotion, desire is a fuel, the gas that we use to power the vehicle of ourselves. I write a goal. Anytime you write a goal, it's because you desire something. It's because you want something, right? That is a momentum-based feeling. That is an emotion. That is an energy in motion, right? When you use anger, some people, a lot of times, for me, even when I'm manifesting, which I still do to this day, but I recognize that sometimes the karma of using that emotion doesn't come back, is using that emotion of fear, or not fear, but people use fear to manifest as well, but using anger and that kind of spiteful energy to manifest. For example, for me in my life, let's say someone says, I can't do something, right? Like, nah, you can't do that. In my reality, I go, bet. Oh, bet? That's what it is? Bet. And that energy is like a rev to me. You know what I mean? That's the energy and emotion that I'm using, that like spiteful energy, that like challenging energy. Like, oh, you just challenge me? I'm very competitive. So it's like, oh, what? Bet. Like, well, what? Just that jump, that, it's that warrior energy that we feel. And that's where I'm using my emotion, my energy and motion, right? But that energy and motion is actually radiating a certain signature from my electromagnetic field, my aura, okay? So we go back to the beginning, okay? So your Merkaba field, okay, is, let's say this is your body. Okay, so I'm just gonna draw a bone. This is your body, okay? And your Merkaba field is boom, right? Kind of looks like this, boom. Right, now so this is the 2D version, but this is the Merkaba field that's surrounding your body. When you think of an aura field, some people usually think of a circle, like a spherical, so there's also that sphere of your your aura field. And then when we actually do scientific scans of your electromagnetic field usually shows up as like these red, orange type, temperature scans throughout your body. So boom, then we have, okay, boom, you have your electromagnetic field that we actually can see with modern day equipment surrounding your body. So boom, you have your electromagnetic field surrounding your body. All right, so boom. So we already said, so you got the Merkaba, and these are all, and think about the beauty of this. This is all just originating from your own energy. Like, this is nothing external from you. So we're out there talking about spaces and things of that nature, but we just broke down 3 different types of your own being, 3 multi-dimensional parts of yourself. The Merkaba, right? The electromagnetic, this is going to be chicken scratch right here. The electromagnetic field, okay? Your electromagnetic field is tied to your emotions, right? Which is your energy and motion. Energy and motion. You're an electromagnetic being because not only are you an electric being, right? You're a water being which conducts electricity, right? So you have the positive. You can either choose if you want to be a positive or negative conductor of electricity. So you have the positive or negative. That's why you're electromagnetic as well. So you're electromagnetic because you can either choose to have positive or negative energy. Okay? And this is all originating from you. So what this does is that this actually, boom, pulls in people, situations, circumstances to you. This is what creates your reality. This is why the Merkaba is so important. The Merkaba is so important because the energy you actually give off is actually your aura field, your electromagnetic field. You know, this is the light vehicle, the spaceship that's used to travel from different dimensions. And people think that traveling from different dimensions is going to drastically change the reality which you experience externally, but it changes the reality which you experience internally, which gradually shifts the external reality, because the external reality can't switch that fast. You already know this already, that your external reality usually does not move as fast as your internal reality, right? And when I say usually, most of the time it doesn't move as fast as your internal reality. Why? Because the external reality that we experience is third dimensional, right? And that's like the slowest, the lowest density point of matter, okay? So right now we live in a third dimensional reality. So how you can really think of reality now is, reality is this. Reality, okay, is a slow version, right, of your thoughts. Okay? Reality is just a slow version of your thoughts. You've already created the reality. Once you deem it to be, it is. Realize that? Once you deemed it to be what it is, now you're just waiting for your third dimensional reality to catch up. You're already the reality. Once you feel it, you're already the reality itself. You create the experience of what that is through your belief. Other people believe you, and then you guys create that experience. But once you started radiating it from your thoughts, and were consistent in that predominant thought and belief in yourself, and in what you could create, in the capabilities of the Most High, you already manifested that. You just have to continue to be consistent and continue to have faith within yourself and within the capabilities of the Most High, all right, which is infinite. But back to the Merkaba. All right. So what's interesting about the Merkaba, which I learned, is that even if you don't get into the what they call woo-woo esoterics of the Merkaba, you can actually use the Merkaba for something else, okay? I'll delve into later how when you tap into your Merkaba, you can actually learn not only about your multidimensionality, you can actually learn about the elements that you can embody with your own experience, because you've experienced when you've been rock. You've experienced when you've been fire. You've experienced when you've been water. You've experienced when you've been air, right? And when I say that, you've had an experience where you've had to be grounded. You've had an experience where you had to flare up, you had to be angry, you had to be spontaneous. You had the experience where you had to flow, you had to be like water, you had to go with the flow. You had an experience where you had to be air, you kind of had to have it come through you, right? So you've had these different elements play in throughout your soul, throughout your aura, throughout your mind, and you didn't even realize that was you expressing your own multi-dimensional elemental reality. But that is actually an aspect of your Merkaba field. But before we get into that, the most important thing that you can learn right now are the principles of the Merkaba field. Now, these are the principles of the Merkaba field, right? I'm going to diagram the body, then I'm going to go and write out which principle, right? So this is called the Merkaba principle reality, okay? This is just utilizing your Merkaba field to embody principles that will help you be successful. So boom, you have the body, boom, okay? At the head, you have faith. So faith, right? But if you have the right arm, it would be integrity. I think the right arm is integrity. I think the right arm is integrity. The right arm is integrity, yeah. Integrity. Okay. Chicken scratch, excuse me. The left arm is forgiveness. Forgiveness. The throat is charity. Okay. So we have faith at the head. We have integrity at the right arm. Forgiveness at the left arm. Charity at the throat. We have gratitude in our hearts. Gratitude. We move from gratitude to empathy in our right chest, which is adjacent to the heart. Adjacent to gratitude is empathy. Okay. From empathy, we go down, right, into where the solar plexus would be, into unconditional love. I'm just going to put the UL. All right. Underneath unconditional love, which is where the root would be, or the sacral, you'll have knowledge. Knowledge, okay? And then in the left leg, you have desire. Desire. In your root, or in the space below, in the invisible space below your root, you'd actually have thought. And then in your right leg, you have action. Now, I didn't draw out the Merkaba field, but I recently learned that you can utilize the points, the axes of the Merkaba field to live out these principles. Because the axes of the Merkaba field are such a solid reality, right? If you memorize these different principles at these different points in your body, you can start embodying these concepts if you just continually practice these principles within your mind and then give them a point of reference throughout your body. So you know, okay, so you start at faith, so you go faith, the head, right? And then start to even create a story between these principles. Faith is the head, right? Since I have faith, right? I have faith that I am a whole being, that there's something above me, that I am part of something. I am part of something whole. I am piece of something whole. I am piece of something bigger, right? So I am integral. So I am integral to something bigger. I am integral. I am integrity. And being with integrity means I believe in something that is bigger than myself. So I move with integrity because I understand that I'm integral to a whole. So I move with integrity, my right arm. But then I don't always move with integrity, so sometimes I have to forgive myself. Boom, so I go to my left arm. Or I have to forgive others because they don't move with integrity, right? So even though they don't move with integrity, even though I don't move with integrity sometimes, I still have to give to myself. So boom, I go into my throat and I give myself charity, right? Through what I speak life into myself. I speak life into others even though they don't always move with integrity, and I have to forgive them. Right? Then once you move from that, you go into the gratitude. I am grateful that I can be forgiven. I am grateful that I can move with integrity or not move with integrity, and that there's something that loves me enough, that would have that compassion enough to still speak life into me. So I have gratitude. That creates empathy, right? Because the gratitude for myself is actually empathy for others. You know, because I'm looking at them and I'm saying, you know, they're not a perfect being. They can also make mistakes. I forgive them for that. I forgive myself for that. That is empathy. It's having empathy for my past self, right? I have empathy for you. You were growing. You were learning. You didn't know. I have empathy for you, right? You move from empathy, you go, boom, into unconditional love. Now you have unconditional love for yourself. You don't judge yourself, right? You don't judge others. You understand that they're learning, they're growing to an extent. That's unconditional love, boom. You move from unconditional love to, boom, knowledge, right? So now you're at knowledge. Knowledge. Know the ledge, the limitation of your knowing. You seek knowledge because now you love yourself. Now that you love yourself, you know what you want, right? Because you love yourself, now you look at yourself more closely. You say, okay, now what do you want? And to find out what you want, you need to have knowledge. You need to have information. You seek knowledge. You seek information because you seek to know what you want. What could you do that would make you love yourself more, or that you could love yourself in a perpetual state of being? So you seek knowledge, right? Then once you go into knowledge, that knowledge, right, you write your goals down, and that creates desire. Now you desire to fulfill that. But to desire to fulfill that, you need to have thoughtful action. So boom, that desire goes into thought, because I have to think about how I'm going to actualize my goals. I have to think about how I'm going to actualize my desires. And so after I've thought about how I'm going to actualize my desires, then boom, I take action. Then after you take action, you make mistakes. You know, you have success, you have failures. You know, you take L's. L's, that is not as in losses, but as in lessons. And then within that, right, within that taking action, you have to have what is the reason for me taking action? What is the reason for me doing this? And the reason can't just be to gratify your desires, to gratify your pleasures. The reason that you take action is because you have faith. Bless. This is Reverend Raw.